Well, generally, if you start the trend, you're good at it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, though. We have something good in NA for once, chat. Let me have this. We're good at something over here on this side of the pond. Bix all the way here for TSM. So, LeBlanc here for Bjergsen. Dyrus gets his Maokai despite all the bans against him, and Lustboy gets his Annie.
Yeah, and really fast conclusion of this pick ban phase is they really had their minds set. As far as the gank for mid lane game goes, the Rengar is a very strong ganker. What's interesting here is the Morgana counter pick to LeBlanc.
Ooh.
Now this is something that is a very real counter, but we haven't seen in the LCS. Black Shield on Morgana plus just being able to shove the wave with her puddle neutralizes the crap out of LeBlanc. I've been waiting for a very long time for people who first pick LeBlanc. My rank 5's team in much lower elo has been destroyed by this on a couple occasions, and we've then done the inverse. It's a really strong matchup for Morg, especially in the early and mid game.
And I feel like WinterFox just took a page out of Starhorn Royal Club, by the way. You've got the Rengar jungle and a bunch of supports for an AD carry named Altek. This is the Tristana show. Like,
true.
Late game damage is coming from exactly one person, and it is one of the strongest AD carries in NA. Had a great performance last year on EG, even though the team didn't do so well. And you're going to hope for this guy to, again, put on a great performance here on this Tristana.
It is Protect the Altek. He had a 500+ gold per minute game when he was playing on Sivir, and he even had a pretty good performance, if I remember, in their defeat. He was the only person to really get kills. So let's just put more power into that one guy while WinterFox still doesn't have their entire team together. Yeah. Doesn't seem like all that bad a strategy.
We'll see if they can do it. The match is about to get underway, so head over to Twitter and vote for the team you think will be victorious. Send either hashtag TSM win or WFX win to @LOL Esports.
Sprightly crowd for the final game we have here of the day. TSM. See if they can bounce back after their defeat. Both these teams on coming off a loss. Don't want to call it a streak because it is just one game.
Sure.
But they want to avoid a losing streak.
Well, one of these teams is going to end up 2-1. One of them is going to end up 1-2. But for Bjergsen, one of the dangers in this game is facing Pobelter and his versatility.
I actually think Pobelter and I have very similar playstyles. He's a player that can play a lot of different things. He likes to play assassins, but he also plays a very good backline champions like Xerath and all those kind of champions. So I can't really expect what to come out of Pobelter because he's a very versatile player who can, I feel like he can pull out anything at any time. And I just pretty much have to be able to do the same. I have to be able to counter whatever he can pull out, and I have to be prepared for pretty much any pick. So I think Pobelter is just a very well-rounded player, and I can't wait to see him grow.
And it's such a great time to hear that quote from Bjergsen because that's exactly what Pobelter has done. He has pulled out a Morgana in the mid lane to counter Bjergsen's LeBlanc. So we'll see, depending on how Bjergsen plays this, some greater roaming potential, some greater assassination potential from the LeBlanc. But in the lane, Pobelter looking for a large amount of control.
And I gotta say, I have to commend WinterFox's pick ban phase because this feels so well rehearsed. Right, you pick a Morgana mid, you know the damage fall off is going to be eventual. She's not there to be a damage carry, she's there as a control mage. Expected the LeBlanc pick, was ready to counterpick with Morgana, and to supplement all of that, they made sure they picked a late game AD carry so that when their mid laner fell off, their AD carry would spike up, be protected by all these shields, and carry the game for them. So a really, really nice preparation, I would say, by WinterFox. To have winning lanes and, I would say, a strong team comp on the back of it.
Check out this early game invade, though, from TSM. It looks like Santorin's starting red buff, a la what St. Vicious did earlier. Then he'll try a gank mid and then go down for blue. But Pobelter, if he doesn't have Black Shield yet, he would be in trouble. He does have that, not skilling up Dark Bind.
Flash stun.
But he didn't get off in time.
There's the W, flashes the knockup, but it's going to be too little too late. First blood goes to Bjergsen.
Lustboy with the instant flash stun. He skilled up Incinerate on Annie, and Pobelter could not react in time to that. Also burning his flash, so that lane advantage counterpick edge he may have on Bjergsen gets set back a peg with that 3-man early game gank mid.
And now with the supports running across to their various lanes to defend other people, You're seeing Dyrus getting to sit in a 1 versus 1 down to the bottom lane. Whereas Wild Turtle, you've got to be afraid of him. No one's facing him at all. Experience advantage TSM.
Yeah, I really want to see how Avalon does as well. Obviously, he didn't pick up much in any type of early lane swap. Dyrus had the advantage of being able to take out a camp with saplings to get a level 2 on Maokai. Voodoo was granted no such luxuries, so as good as WinterFox's composition may be, they have to not lose the early game. Lustboy with no flash
this
is
could be
done.
successful. They're gonna wait all the time and then get the root. That's picked up while Turtle gets exhausted. The rend will not be enough, and WinterFox fires back.
Well, that's one thing about using your support flash early on in the game and then going and pushing up in a lane swap situation. It's rather dangerous, and Helios, with years of competitive experience, was able to punish the one thing TSM burned in that game to get something back.
Well, I gotta say, they kind of burned Pobelter too with the Ignite and everything. I'm sorry. TSM. First blood advantage, they still hold a gigantic gold lead, and of course Dyrus still happy in that lane. Wild Turtle unafraid in the 1v2 as well. Does not expect a return from, sorry, not Meteos, Helios right here.
Yeah, now they're using the Callista Sentinel to try and stop those ganks from happening. They need a few more wards in the mid lane if they want to maintain their pushed up position. This is TSM in this top lane to avoid Helios from coming to the river. The other thing they can do to block the river is obviously get the Scuttle Crab down.
I actually learned something recently about Scuttle Crab. So it has 60 armor and MR. If you knock it up or stun it, I believe those are the only CCs that count, it loses 50 armor and MR permanently till it respawns. Which even though Jarvan's not the best single target damage dealer, because he can knock it up, it becomes 30-ish% easier to kill after EQing it, and then just shreds the darn thing.
Yeah, another thing is if you have the Krug's auto stun, that'll do it for you.
Oh,
based
true.
off auto attacks, and then you would use your EQ to just kill it super fast.
Mm-hmm.
But the rotations are pretty key in this game. I wonder if Pobelter will just be left alone in this mid lane since he's not really on an assassin and is relying on the pick, and if WinterFox will do other things to try and get an edge.
They're gonna do this. Santorin flashes, but he's so close to dead. They can't quite chase it down. Instead, they're gonna smite his camp away and say, "Get out of your own jungle." Nice.
Preempt the mid lane gank. Get the jungler before he gets there. Santorin's out of there, and they're going to try and deny Santorin a little bit. Meanwhile, Avalon is in trouble.
A lot of damage from the W passive as well. Wild Turtle, it's going to be Lustboy holding aggro. Will die,
Executed.
but execute.
Oh, no.
Wow, no damage came out from Avalon there.
Even though he flashed for the finish, he never got an auto attack off onto Lustboy. He was completely focusing his spells and autos on Wild Turtle, who was killing him. Some unfortunate events right there. And now he has no flash for his teleport.
Leave his flash. Nice! Ooh. Oh, wow. Gets the W. One auto, two autos. There's the kill! The shield from Avalon gets him an assist.
So the teleport was worth it anyway, apparently. This will be a tough gank. I wonder what Helios is going to try and get. They'd have to combo a binding with the root in order to make this work, but Jarvan is on the other side. These teams love going mid.
Santorin knows there's nothing seeing him. He's got the Raptor buff. There's a pink cord to even add further safety to his root. Helios flanks around. How good is... Oh, the W's down on cooldown.
Just got to land it.
Can he do it? Jukes, nicely done, Bjergsen.
If he would have been hit by that, there's a chance he could have never flashed away for safety. Like, that was a very competent juke there by Bjergsen, because being able to chain the Rengar route into a dark binding from Pobelter, so even though he only has 1 point in it, would still be an extra 2 seconds from the dark binding. Plus ult, plus ignite may have been enough to kill him.
I definitely believe it. There's actually a lot more damage than you expect from mid Morgana. And hey, to call back out to the Twitter question, the Chalice pickup there for Pobelter knows he needs to not get bursted out by Bjergsen. He's afraid of an AP burster, so Chalice instead of Morellonomicon. Holding true to the rule.
Boy, again, looking to make a play. It definitely is a pattern. They take the player who is newest to the team in the LCS, who may be uncomfortable in their role, and they try and tilt him, honestly. It's what we've seen in these last few games. These guys have been heavily targeted. Avalon Again, his debut game for WinterFox has been under a lot of pressure here from the TSM team.
He definitely has, but with Glebe here to support him, looks like they're holding in a decent spot so far. Wild Turtle farming up pretty nicely. Hurricane first, by the way. You can see the components there. Bjergsen on the roam. It's a 3v2. Down goes the engage, but they don't find anything. Avalon gives up a little bit of golden XP, but an ult and a failed roam.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. You can see the WinterFox lacking in ward control. The fact that that roam was able to happen without Pobelter getting significant mid lane pressure. Because Pobelter was respecting the ganks so heavily, he was unwilling to push up that mid lane. It means WinterFox needs to get some map control.
Speaking of map control, though, one thing that does surprise me, because I just saw Dyrus TP bot lane. You typically, at this point in the game, see the top laners walk top, hold their teleport, and prepare for a dragon fight. Avalon's TP is down. He's staying top lane. In fact, Glebe's up there, too. Neither team seems very willing to push for a dragon, which you just tend to see in these lane swap scenarios.
Well, we also tend to see this from TSM. If we're gonna take two of their games as an example. They gave up the first several dragons against Cloud9 in their first game, and neither TSM nor Team 8 put much priority to it in Game 2 of the week. It is an objective that TSM doesn't care that much about early. It feels like.
I think it's a fine way to play the game, for what it's worth. I just know that the ones that tend to be free, it's like you might as well.
That's true.
Both teams, I think, gave the opportunity to allow a dragon.
I think they're comfortable with the lane swaps, and the investment that they would take to do it backwards is just not worth it.
That's
because
fair.
they would lose the time and give up an edge that way. TSM wants Wild Turtle to have farm. WinterFox wants Altec to have farm.
And that is happening, of course. And to have a Tristana have an uneventful laning phase.
Nice go.
Yeah, very, very nice. Helios, hello. Glebe and Avalon. Actually, as long as you hit it once, the move speed drops significantly, and you can usually get rid of that Sentinel before it reaches the brush, but just not quite hitting it in time. Out goes Helios. But yeah, as you were saying, with the lane swap scenarios, you're right. Altec getting a free lane on Tristana is plenty happy if you can ride out that early to mid-game lull Trist tends to have. But just keep in mind, TSM have all that free farm with Dyrus not being opposed in this lane, whereas Avalon is having a rough time.
And I do really have to commend TSM for that early gank in the mid lane. Even though Lustboy later lost his life for burning Flash, the fact that it's allowed Bjergsen to win this matchup where he is counterpicked by the Morgana is because of that early pressure. And a TSM without Bjergsen is really not TSM. Just shows how worth that first game was.
That was definitely beautiful. I really, really enjoyed it. In the Gravity game, we saw Saint unable to revisit after the Flash was burned. To be fair, this happened for TSM as well. They did not revisit Pobelter with the flash down, but the kill came in all the same, and it was the lead for Bjergsen. Now we're seeing ward control started a little bit over the Dragon area. 11 minutes in, we see 2 wards from WinterFox on the screen right now.
It's almost like as if a switch was flipped, and they say, all right, I guess it's time for Dragon now. It was convenient for both of the guys to back at the same time, it looks like, except Altec is now trapped top lane. So
no.
Yeah, I was wrong. TSM said now it's time for Dragon.
They didn't have teleport.
Yeah.
Dyrus got another minute and a half on that guy. So, yeah, still just...
They're all in on Altec's farming. That's the only thing.
What they did do is swap back when Hurricane came in. Wild Turtle got that item, showed up bot lane, and said, let's start bullying. Tristana's going to be at a trough here. And he's right, actually. So.
And they swapped the Tristana back. It's all about the 80 carry farm and counter farm. It's less about the Dragon.
Yep.
TSM has littered the Dragon area with wards, and they've yet to go for it.
The sweeper comes out, and there's like, no, these wards are going down again. They want to make sure Rengar can't sneak in without ulting in. Wild Turtle with some click clears away. By the way, some of you guys may notice the double Rens going off. You hear the ch-ch twice. The second Ren actually deals the like reduced as though it were a stack damage. If I'm making sense to you guys, Ren basically, if there's bullets in the air, will recast when those last bullets hit. And the way Ren deals damage, there's an upfront amount and then an amount per stack, much like Twitch's Expunge. Those secondary Rens deal the quote-unquote stack damage, the reduced amount. So there's no like gimmicky bonus damage dealt that way. Altec, though, getting hit pretty hard by Dyrus. Knocks him back to get away from the ulti, but Avalon getting dived. They are putting up so much effort on pushing this Lulu around. Altec takes a bit of damage. Dyrus healthier in this trade. But here
Rengar
comes
top
Rengar.
lane.
Uh-oh. It's going to be a flash. The Bola, I think, missed. Anyway, the slow lance. Helios has another route. The bot turret went down. Nicely done by Turtle, but nothing gained for Helios.
Yeah, really. Alt, Bola, they lose the turret bottom. The Dragon is going the other side, revealing himself in a sense. Great reaction time by Dyrus to flash that Bola and really save his skin. It means TSM wins this on pretty much all fronts as far as trades go.
Absolutely beautiful by TSM. They go for the Dragon when it's finally convenient. The early smite into the Rend. We've been tracking a little bit on the analyst desk before this game how these teams are playing around the Kalista burst. Of course, she's so good at securing objectives your team's already doing. And the thought is you don't want to smite and run at the same time. You give a window for your opponents to kill it. But you can smite it to make it die faster, you know, at a respectable time frame, and then rend for the burst because you typically beat smite with it. And so far, these teams are doing a good job of that specifically.
Yeah. Yet to see a Kalista mess up the jungler smite or something. You're like, all right, I'm going to spike it, and they get too aggressive with it. The Bang gets left at 200 health.
Right.
I mean, that's basically what any jungler trying to steal the Dragon will do, is they'll just smite it early, hoping Kalista was trying to rend with that number and misjudged.
Right.
It is the only hope they have of stealing away from Kalista.
I think that's what Impaler did, I believe, if I have a player right.
Well, it's Dominate, I think.
Yeah, Dominate did it against...
The Kalista heals.
yeah, C9, Sneaky. There we go. We got it together. And yeah, he smited it down to 500, hoping that there was an early rend or an early smite from either side. Didn't happen. Was secured by C9 in that game.
It's a swap battle right here. They're only trying to deny the 80 carry farm. Everyone's running away from the Kalista, but how long can you run when they can chase you like that?
Wow, knock up into Tibbers. Avalon just has nowhere to go. The Rend, 2 more autos will do it, and Wild Turtle gets the kill. Beautiful chase.
Absolutely, Avalon had no backup. Helios, nowhere to be found. Even if he was there, he may have just found himself another death to Kalista's hand. This is really going in the favor of TSM. They got control of the mid lane first, and they're almost systematically trying to shut down the WinterFox carries. Pobelter was shut down at the start. They're chasing Altec around, and when they don't find Altec, they dive Avalon.
Oh, hold on. Speak about getting shut down. Bjergsen forced to flash away, just gets away in time before the ulti ticked on him. Good play, Pobelter. The early pressure being turned around.
Yeah, but look at what they're losing on the rest of the map. Just from Avalon getting destroyed in these lane swap situations.
I mean, think about it. This was a very similar investment. 2v1 top lane meant a kill and the turret going down. 2v1 bot lane, eventually Dyrus has to leave, but just the progress being made by Wild Turtle. Yeah, okay, Pobelter, his shield will be up. Lustboy's alone so far. All's well.
We can hope to try and turn something a little bit even. Pobelter does have that blue buff and a beefy black shield just based off ability power. He's not even skilling that.
Forced to flash away though, Lustboy. Oh, the knockback into the team! Is that a dead Annie? Nope, Kalista says no thank you. Rengar joins the fray, but down goes Pobelter. Helios also gonna join him in Undeath. Altec forced to run away, 2 for 0 TSM.
Fight just went completely wrong for WinterFox right there. It all started because Pobelter had lost his black shield, and because they tried to get a catch, but Wild Turtle was one step ahead with the Kalista ultimate. Let's see how much TSM can take off this edge, because this game's getting out of hand.
Bjergsen looking to harass, nearly brings down Altec. The shield is late from Avalon. And just more pressure. Team SoloMid playing this incredibly well. Central recalls on a ward. No fear.
Why doesn't he kill it? I feel like he should kill that.
He's continuing the trend of North American junglers recalling the most awkward places possible.
We'll see. Maybe he'll get it. Maybe he'll get it later. I have faith. Wild Turtle will get it. He was saving the gold for his 80 carry. A true supportive jungler. Taking a look at this fight again. The idea was great from Glebe. Getting Lustboy back and then going straight in, but then the counter engage was even better, since after the counter engage happened, there was no peel ult from Glebe because he used it to engage. At that point, the gold lead from TSM and the combat stats were too much for them to take down.
It just goes to show you the number of games these teams are playing in scrims against Kalista. Like,
now let me tell you, there are a few spots on the map where wards are bugged and you can't see through the fog of war, that is not one of those spots. That ward is clearly visible from pretty much every single angle in that brush. So it is just TSM or Santorin missing out on killing that ward.
Bam. That one. They destroy with a vengeance.
And the only way you don't see a ward is if wards just basically draw lines. So if you can't have a straight line of vision, if a wall cuts it off, even if you're in the same brush as a ward, you won't be able to see it. Or wards only see a certain distance, and these bottom lane brushes are so long that you can have a pink ward at the very front of one. It doesn't mean the very back of the brush isn't warded, because the pink ward vision radius does not reach that far.
Right.
Just explaining ward vision a little bit.
Right, of course.
There's some confusion on the topic.
Hey, I talked about Rend for a while, so can't really hate you for this one. Nice little poke. Belcher takes a spear to the back of the head and backs up a little bit. Finds Dyrus, though. He's a bit over-aggressive. The whole team jumps in. It's a 1v4. Dyrus in the wrong place at the wrong time. Good pickup. That goes to Altec.
Boy, did they burn a lot for that kill, though. But all is well that ends well. If Altec can get some farm. He needs to hit a few more item breakpoints, however, before he becomes a real threat.
And this is the scary thing, is he's also up against an early Frozen Heart from Dyrus. He is being as tanky as possible.
Oof, that's brutal.
Yeah, Wild Turtle's going to be carrying a lot of the damage burden here. Of course, Bjergsen can help as well. Looks like DFG is next. Thank you, Bjergsen. And now bot lane tier 2 under fire despite getting a kill. TSM completely in control of this map. They're getting a turret uncontested entirely.
I mean, if we think about it, they've already burned all their damage to kill Maokai, so they don't even have, even if they had people here, they wouldn't have initiation threat to push off that turret. It was a smart map movement and lane to push by TSM, but it looked even better because WinterFox wasn't responding to it.
Wow, and there we go, a blue buff on top of it. Just so much being gained. Bjergsen gets the buff himself. Team SoloMid well in control. Now the dragon respawns. They're going to go for this one too. That should make it 2 dragons. Wild Turtle leaves the pit early, and he's going to say, you know what? You can just whenever. No rush.
Yeah. TSM really comfortable right now. Most of the plays they made this game worked out just right.
Helios is going to find Dyrus, but there's just no way those champions kill Dyrus without the entire map to run down for it. Bjergsen able to easily wave clear. These lanes are all under control. Altec tries to push the bottom lane down, but there's room for TSM to sweep this wave back up. And the thing is, I feel like WinterFox do just have to wait around for a while. The power of LeBlanc is quite high right now. DFG just came in. You really don't want to fight her at this point in time. Tristana still needs another full item to be completed before she's going to be a real threat to someone like Dyrus' Maokai.
Yeah. The execution from WinterFox just hasn't been there this game. Avalon, not comfortable in these lane swaps, is definitely what it feels like.
Yeah, so boy or TSM.
Yeah, I mean, Avalon got dove 2v1. It wasn't even a 3-man gank. He was just
Wild
in
Turtle
a
Lust Boy.
compromising position. Wild Turtle Lust Boy made a nice play with the Callista Annie combo.
So with a 5,000 gold lead and no threat of Tristana just yet, TSM retain control. They're 5 turrets in, meaning only mid tier 2 is standing. They've held Immaculate Dragon control, albeit starting late. They are so far setting up Baron control pretty darned early. They do have the vision blacked out, I believe, but they don't have a lot of wards in Northern Jungle to watch the counter attempt. Right now, WinterFox just trying to keep their waves outside of the base.
WinterFox isn't going to make any aggressive play unless they
Definitely
see another singular kill they can pick up, because that's the only way they get a little bit of a gold influx. They do have their inhibitor ring of turrets up. That's kind of their last defense at this point. I don't even know if they can stop the Baron. I mean, that's the mid lane / top lane Morgana damage, which is why we're seeing it more in solo lanes now. Morg is a champion in competitive we see in all 3 lanes, actually. Even, I think it was last night as well.
Yeah, the Samsung mid laner
saw,
only plays Fizz and Morgana. basically.
Yeah, well, we also Trace from Jin Air plays it in the top lane.
I didn't see that
He's
one.
played it on multiple occasions, actually. To much success. They run it in poke comps.
Yeah, we saw how good Morg was in poke comps in our first game of the day. With Gravity just finding bindings, and by the way, that thing does a whole crap ton of damage, so hey, good on you guys. And now let's see. 5,000 gold lead, holding pretty standard actually. The minions are getting traded back and forth without contest, so it's really easy to wave clear back and forth. The question is, where does the ward control go from there? Because TSM are always clearing the waves first, getting the vision deeper in, requiring enemies to sit there and babysit the waves, and then wards come down when that happens. Baron control is getting rested farther and farther away. There's an aggressive pink ward. That's going to get rid of... Sorry, that's just a regular ward. But the pink ward goes down. Now red buff's controlled by TSM. Now they've got a full screen away from Baron control. Well, slowly getting worse.
Yeah, that's the typical thing TSM is doing. They're just ward creep.
Yep.
They're trying to build their vision system into WinterFox territory. It will become easier if they can actually get down the one remaining middle tier turret from WinterFox. That is kind of the last vestige of WinterFox strength.
Okay, here's the first attempt.
That is not an initiation ultimate. That's a, we have no idea where TSM is. Let's hope to find them.
Oh, they're right there.
It was somewhat successful by Helios.
So Dyrus takes some damage. Yeah, he sees him. They leave safely. Now, interestingly, Dyrus does not have... Well, now he has a null magic mantle, but almost had no magic resist at all. He actually took a decent chunk of health from the Morgana shots.
Yeah, well, the fact is, Morgana has low late-game damage and needs to focus it on the squishy targets. Oftentimes, you'll see the Morg flash in and go. Without his Zhonya's, that's not even a possibility. And if he's bursting down Maokai, then okay, the carries from TSM would then proceed to destroy.
Well, okay, so Helios in the middle of nowhere, forced to recall back. He was afraid TSM completely hold vision control.
It's a Baron they should be
no wards. And now, does WinterFox choose to just rush down for an inhibitor as a trade for Baron? There's no way they can stop this. They are all going to send themselves to the bottom side of the map. TSM will get this Baron without contest. The question is, how much can WinterFox get as a payment for this?
One turret. And I don't think they could hope for much more. This Baron was an inevitability based on TSM's map control and current team fight potential. WinterFox got the best they could out of this. One turret, the Baron was going down anyway. Now it's just a defense game.
3 minutes of defense until about 28:30 into the game. Baron buff is going to keep TSM ahead and able to siege against WinterFox. Despite their comp being a little bit short range, the Baron buff on minions should make this much easier for them. Quicksilver sash grab by Wild Turtle early on to make sure he doesn't drop down to Rengar Bolas or Morgana bindings.
Yeah, Brutalizer as well.
That's a new one.
Yeah. Well, he knows there's not much armor being built on WinterFox, and if there's low armor values, the Brutalizer can be a better armor penetration item than the Last Whisper.
True.
And if he upgrades that into a Ghost Blade, then it gives him even more mobility onto super mobile Callista.
Yeah. I really can't hate on Yomu's Callista. I can totally see it. Here's a dragon attempt. And no worries at all for Wild Turtle. Just gonna make it look cool. He can solo this, of course, with plenty of lifesteal thanks to the Bloodthirster. Drastic to the Ruin King. Yeah, there you go.
2,000 damage rend, no problem.
When you solo it, you get those stacks really quickly, so...
Yep.
It's actually easier to secure a dragon when you solo it, because you can't get the rend stacks up otherwise when everyone else helps you, so... Smart choice to let Wild Turtle get it by himself. And now still with Baron, but they look for their first inhibitor turret of the game on the bot lane.
I wonder if they're feeling confident enough to flash in and go.
Glebe took plenty of damage.
Yeah, it depends on the poke that Bjergsen can land, and WinterFox doesn't have much to hold this one back. Next wave, I think this goes down. Or even on this wave, they're going.
This one they go in. Altec gets exploded! And it's going to be real bad. Pobelter now locked up as well. Will land a stun, poops up Dyrus a bit, but still, so much damage comes through. The Zhonya's Force Belter is still sure to die. Does so to Lustboy, 2 for 0. Inhibitors theirs as well.
TSM decides not to push this one farther, but I think they could have ended the game right there. Avalon is a glorified support at this point. It's 2 supports and a Rengar in the base, and TSM had 5 people with Baron minions. Slow and steady, I suppose, but TSM completely in control.
They absolutely are. There's not much hope right now for WinterFox, especially when Altec dies first like that. Shield seemed to be on cooldown. Great play by Bjergsen and co to make that one happen. Nothing on the map to take except the WinterFox base here. So TSM, it is still on you with 15 seconds of Baron to push something else down.
Top lane.
Why not?
Let's go. Maybe they need to wait for Wild. No, Wild Turtle's only got 1,000 gold. They're going to pick up some buffs on the way. Obviously, WinterFox is going to try and farm this one out, but they've just fallen so far behind. The Morgana pick against the Blanc needs to win early. If you get to this point in the game, you can really see the lack of effectiveness. Morgana can't get through the tank line of Dyrus, and the team itself is not strong enough to go in if Pobelter did want to try and flash ult in. At this point, Bjergsen can just pick off Altec, and the rest of the team, SoloMid, can pile in.
Most likely, yeah. So TSM, they want the top lane. No Baron buff. The waves are slowly building up bot. It'll, I think, end up being a double wave by the time it reaches the dead inhibitor. Avalon forced to ult himself just for a simple rotation from Bjergsen. Not good.
Yeah, Bjergsen's got his blue buff up as well. So, I mean, he's got 15 seconds at this point before he can do that again.
So every wave, Bjergsen brings someone down to 1/3 health. And unless Pobelter predicts a binding and bursts the guy out, which, to be fair, is possible, I don't see anything going very well right now. Santorin passively farming by letting minions hit him. Clears the wave that way. The wave clear still holding on nicely. Lulu plus Tristana. The Yordle duo keeping the minions outside the base, but here's the big minion wave at the bottom lane right now. WinterFox has to react to this. That minion's going to crush a turret by itself.
Yeah, well, these are trying to hold off this minion wave. Dyrus takes a bit of damage. Here's the fight.
Altec does survive, thanks parse than everyone else. Pobelter goes in. The Zodiac pops early, though. He's going to land this on an only Lustboy. He's going to trade his life support for mid laner. And now Wild Turtle gets 1,000,000 damage off of the rest of WinterFox. Down goes Nexus turret number 1 from the wave. And it's a sort of late help by WinterFox. Of course, TSM forced them to hold mid. And this turret down to half.
A decent stall there by WinterFox, but it's only going to be just that, a stall. I don't think we're seeing any kind of turnaround here as TSM continues to push in.
There we go. Inhibitor number 2. The wave's going to get cleared quickly inside the base. Avalon does not have much to say for himself. Now top lane under fire as well. This could quickly be inhibitor number 3. Morgana is back up in 5 seconds. Rengar's here now. Dyrus at half. Wild Turtle could be available. WinterFox do not want to go for it.
No. Slow and steady this time for TSM. Even though they got a really fast Callista, especially if he finishes that. He almost goes, but we see Baron at 1 minute 30 seconds, Dragon at 1 minute 45. And honestly, this was just a good performance overall by Team SoloMid, but not necessarily a differentiating one. This is another one of those games where, hey, they got Bjergsen going. Congratulations. He's able to take over the game on the block. On top of that, it was a nice showing from Wild Turtle and Lustboy, pulling off this Callista combo, which, if today is any indication, unless Altec is willing to add that to his champion pool as well, is going to start drawing bans across the league.
Yeah.
If you're not one of the 3 that seems to play it right now, Double Lift, Wild Turtle.
Oh.
Sneaky.
Good knockup by Avalon. Not going to be enough. Lustboy claims his 3rd kill of the game.
Additionally, for Avalon, not a great debut.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. But once again, WinterFox has more roster issues than anyone else, especially from the language department. The whole game plan of this team when they were playing in Korea, they have a Korean coach, Pobelter speaks Korean. Everyone was going to play in Korean, and they'd have Altec as an English-speaking AD carry just hitting things because the AD carry requires the least communication of competitive roles.
Yeah.
But with Lieben as a substitute, they can't do that. So they're playing in different languages right now, which is not the plan for this team's construction. TSM going for inhibitor number 3.
Belter forced to flash away. Looks like the Nexus will stay alive for now, but TSM go aggressive. Altec, 1 hit from dead. Wild Turtle sure to clean this fight up. Pobelter will be falling 2 for 0. On to the Nexus TSM goes. I don't see them being stopped here. WinterFox forced all the way back into their own base. Nexus now available. TSM take care of business in 32.5 minutes. 2-1 start to the season for Team SoloMid.
Yeah, they made that one look pretty easy for them. Very few missteps by TSM the entire game. Dyrus got caught out once. Other than that, everyone played super clean. Very convincing victory, taking advantage of the still yet to be completed roster of WinterFox, punishing Avalon in his first game of the LCS. And yeah, like you said, improving their record to 2-1.
Improving to 2-1, which I believe now makes them a tie for first place since Liquid did lose to Cloud9. TSM tied for first now. Of course, early in the season, but this is what you expect from Team SoloMid. They're the reigning champions of North America. They're supposed to be up there. A lot of eyes were on Santorin. 0-0-11 for him. He's done just fine. Last boy.
Pretty pumped.
Repeat performance here. Also, for a while there, had the most kills on his team with 3. Did a great job being a damage-centric Annie.
Well, he did have the highest kill participation as well. 3 kills, 9 assists, in a total of 13 TSM kills. So over 90% in that category.
And Bjergsen, the guy that got ahead, the first blood gank at level 2, even despite the black shield from Pabelzer here. The Morgana counter pick, they're just... The 1v1 is going to be fine. The 1v3 maybe less so.
Yeah, and it was honestly all because of Lustboy. The black shield, surprisingly, unless he gets instantly stunned, will save him from that gank.
Yeah.
All he has to do is black shield himself, flash towards his turret. Because the knockup's not going to get you, the stun